I'm here today to give some initial thoughts about Trojan Horse, episode 611 from Scandal. Of course, as you saw at the beginning, this video is brought to you by Born Beautiful Naturals, which is my handmade cosmetics line that you can check out. We're having a Mother's Day special right now. It's coming up for those of you in the US. Anyway, so what I'm going to do is go from the most annoying / I don't give a fuck about you really / when would you die up onto my faves, okay? So, you know where I'm gonna begin. Jake. I'm just glad we kind of had pretty much a single use for this dude, and in a scene where it made sense. Kind of. No, we had him in two scenes, which actually, let me talk about that. The first scene where he comes in to scare the fucking bejesus out of David while Ponytail is there on his floor. Why was that necessary? Could you not find another way to deliver what it is that you need to tell him? And you had to get in a kind of disgusting sleazebag comment about, I know she screams real good, which this is the first reflection from 610, right? Where AU Jake talks to AU Fitz and he makes that sleazy ass comment, sexual comment about Olivia, is she a dud in bed? All that shit. We see that he is a sleazeball, completely unnecessary for him to say that to David. Like, why did you need to do all of that in order to deliver the message to David? Just like you didn't need to scare the hell out of Olivia in the parking lot, throw her phone out the fucking car, and push her and act like you were gonna murder her when in 605, taking her to the cabin. Like, what is wrong with you? Oh, the second thing was about him being there for Mellie. And this guy's just such a shapeshifter, which, you know, he obviously learns it from his dad, and I will get to him later. Like, he comes in to clean up Mellie's mess. Liv has him there in, again, a completely utilitarian role. What have I told y'all about this guy? He's the dirty bathroom, right? Which, in any case, he's there. And I didn't mind that scene. I was like, you know what? I can't wait to see, even though I'm mad about Mellie being elected as president, I can't wait to see the two of yous trifling, not ever winning anything, have the world handed to your asses, ineptitude in action. This gonna be good. So I didn't mind him in that scene, fine. So Liz, girl, we didn't need you anymore. I don't know why you were made a full-time member of the cast. Sweet goodbyes. OPA, I don't really have a lot to say with OPA. They were kind of backgroundish this episode. I just thought it was really cute how Quinn was treating Huck, and it just reminded me of how Olivia was treating Huck in her in her imagination, in her daydream, let's say, right? Because that shit wasn't real. It didn't happen. I don't care how real it felt or that it could happen or that it was informed by reality. It wasn't reality, right? And we see how far away from reality it is closer to the end of this episode with Olivia, where she made me want to drop kick her in the fucking throat. Woosah. Okay. Aside. Charlie, I'm just still like, why don't we have an explanation for why Charlie is there? Yeah, he's helpful and he's under Quinn's thumb, which I don't know if that's how you really want to have a relationship. Like, I'm telling you, they are the Jake and Olivia of the B-side. She's not gonna marry Charlie. Like, I just don't feel it. Like, he's the good for me there when I'm lonely, you know, kind of option or whatever. But she fucking slashed Meg's throat for Huck when she made that comment about, that's why he never loved you. That shit cut her, and so she cut Meg. Abby, I like Abby. I know some people don't like Red, but I have always liked Abby, Miss Sassy Pants from way back in the day. So I'm glad she's trying to be on this straight and narrow and do her part to help. And really shout out to her, because essentially Abby facilitated the reunion of Super Team Olet. Because had it not been for Abby, you know, quashing her pride and going in and telling Fitz what it is that she had done so that he would know and be able to help, right? Not like what Olivia said, calling it selfish and, you know, the president should know these things. Because Olivia, what you would have done in not telling Fitz would have been to what you've always done in the past that has led to even more grave circumstances, is to do shit behind his back and then demand that he help you when you finally can't get your way out of it. And I want you to think about these things when he's not the goddamn president anymore, how you're going to operate like this. So yeah, it hit me that it's really because of Abby doing that we have Fitz coming to the hospital, facilitating the, you know, forgiveness of Abby, and then you know, Cyrus out of jail, Olivia and Fitz being able to talk to each other, get all up in their personal spaces, and which leads to, you know, things getting really personal by the end. Which we'll get to later. Mellie, woo! Y'all know I don't see it for her. I used to give her a chance back in the day. I really did. I think up until about season 3, I tried to find the sympathy with her and what she was going through, but more and more, I just began to see her white feminist ways, right? Her Megyn Kelly ass ways of, I am a feminist of one. When shit is about me, I'm all for it. Even this, you know, I'm here for America bullshit. No, you're not. The way you talk about America is to really talk about yourself, right? And we always hear her talk about you deserve, that she deserves, that she was born for this. Where are the receipts? Where are the receipts that Mellie was born for this or made for this? Bitch, you had one thing that you did for Planned Parenthood, and even then, in 509, you confessed to Olivia that really you did it because Senator Gibson made you feel like you were non-essential, like you did it to show him up. You saw an opportunity and you made your name off of that as a junior senator, right? And now you can run for president. I mean, in real life, we have a president that made his name off of fake birth certificate bullshit. But Mellie's been out here trumping before Trump, right? Telling people how great she is, about her pedigree, and saying all of this shit. And who knows if she's gonna be able to deliver anything at all. Like, I really don't. What is your vision? What are your plans? I heard that shit from Cyrus, and maybe the writers made us hear it because they knew Cyrus was never going to be president and he was going to be going to jail. But Cyrus talked about his first 100 days, how he was going to rival FDR and Reagan's, and how he was going to tackle healthcare and the economy, even though he had to make a dig at Fitz. Anyway, back to Mellie. So, I don't see it for Mellie. This episode reinforced for me, one, she and Olivia are not friends, right? They're not besties, counter to all of you people out there who were like, yay, Olivia, because you're on the most basic of basic forms of feminism. Mellie has repeatedly used, abused, and exploited Olivia, gotten herself into trouble, and expected Olivia to come and clean up her goddamn messes, which is why I was never for Olivia jumping on the Mellie train to get back to the White House, if you thought Mellie got into the White House. This girl has no sense of leadership. None. We have not seen it. Where is the leadership from her? Not a damn place. She needs everybody else to help her. So what now? You, Fitz, OPA, everybody else is going to have to come together, make a plan to get her ass out. Because guess what? When y'all are all together next week in that room and figuring a way out, she's not going to be the one to come up with a brilliant plan. She's not going to be the one to orchestrate shit. Yet she's going to be the president. And you want to know why Pace and Ponytail want her to be the president? Where is your leadership and plans? There is none, right? they're going to be able to get their way, because we see how easy it is to get Mellie where you want her, to get her in a corner, get her to do something stupid, get her to involve other people, is simply by offering her a bit of flattery. Look what Liz did, which is very much not unlike what A.U. Cyrus did in The Decision, right? Where she was in a low way, desperate, and, you know, still wanting to find a way forward, but wants to act coy about it, right? Trying to let somebody else come up with the suggestion, which is basically what she allows Liz to do. Mellie didn't want to give up her run for presidency, and frankly, in our heart of hearts, didn't give one good goddamn whether it was honest or not. She just wanted it, which I have been saying about her. She doesn't care, right? It doesn't matter the hypocrisy. It doesn't matter how much she told Fitz he was like weak, or how he didn't want it, and how she was gonna show him and prove how worth it she was, or that he's just a once around the ballroom kind of guy. It doesn't matter all of that, because she will win, right? And to her, that's all that matters, is to be there and to prove to herself that she is somebody, that she's worth it, that, you know, all of her insecurities have, you know, been solved, except they won't be. Now you're going to be a puppet president, right? Your husband, your ex-husband, excuse me, your ex-husband may not have been a legitimate president that first go round, but at least he wasn't a motherfucking puppet president, and you can't say that for yourself. I can't believe. Remember last week I said that the dream was very much informed by how Olivia sees the core characters of these people, how she imagined them, and also in some ways aspects of herself, because she was the one imagining it, was projected onto these people. And for me, this is particularly true of A.U. Fitz's apology to her near the end of the episode, which I'll kind of tell you about the realization I had when I get to them. In this episode, however, Olivia at the beginning was trying to convince Mellie that at her core, she is a good person and she knows her. You don't know her. You really don't know her. At her core is a woman who will stop at nothing, not her rape, not the death of her motherfucking child, not the murder of the president-elect, not the murder of a woman in front of her, not 12 dead jurors. None of it will stop at anything to become president. And that's why, shade, Olivia had her paired up with Cyrus in her thoughts, because they have been a disastrous team from the beginning, Mellie and Cyrus. Every time they do something, they end up fucking. They work together, they end up fucking it up and needing Olivia and or Fitz to get them out of it. Right? And this time she's not with Cyrus, but Cyrus is also the one that's kind of suffering from this, because Mellie allowed herself, with a little bit of flattery and not asking questions because she's too eager for the end. I told y'all, she is not a strategist. She does not know how to strategize. She knows how to react. She knows she's very reactionary, and she's very short-sighted. I've been saying this for like 3 seasons now. And look where we are. Short-sighted with Liz, right? And she ends up getting herself entrapped in this mess with the Illuminati. And then everybody else is going to have to act and clean it up. So old Mellie returns. Quelle surprise. The last thing I want to say about Mellie is that, Bellamy was very good in that scene where she was frightened and had blood all over her. Really great acting there. And I love seeing her in the soft pink and blue. But girl, anybody afraid of your authority? Anybody afraid of you yelling at them to leave your office and that you're not doing this and you're not doing that? Listen, if Rowan couldn't yell his way out of it, why the fuck do you think you're going to? Or you, Olivia. Speaking of Rowan, he gets on my nerves as a character, and there are times that I can see that, okay, there's a bit of truth that he says there, which is true for this episode as well, right? That Shonda has been known to call him the truth. And I see why she said that. Not that he is right, because I don't think that he is. But with all of his manipulation, he manages to always slip in, something truthful. And especially with Olivia. And she gloms on to the thing that she hears as truth. And then everything else about what he said seems to become true. And I have such a problem with it. Like, it drives me up the wall. I could probably tolerate the character of Eli Rowan Pope much more if he weren't such an obstacle to, sound like I said popsicle, obstacle, an obstacle to my baby girl, Olivia. I really want her to get on and be in charge of her life. And she's just gotten herself further into the very cage that she says she was so-called escaping in 509 that Fitz put her in. I'm going to talk about that. Yeah. But Rowan, let me just deal with him first as a character, right? First, to the scandal writers, what we're not going to do is rehabilitate Rowan as some kind of good guy, innocent guy, old, infirm guy. I know that mostly Olivia is trying to see him that way, but we're not going to forget everything that he's done in the past. We're not going to forget that he basically outsourced the job of getting Cyrus framed to Olivia using his influence. And the Illuminati knew that about him and his relationship with her. That they didn't have to do any fucking work with Olivia. That Rowan was gonna do all of that shit for them. And they wouldn't have to lift a motherfucking finger except to transfer that money into her account. And they probably got an assistant to do that, right? So this is the problem that I have, is his selfishness, right? And the Black patriarchy, which has pervaded the relationship between him and his daughter. Rowan, I don't buy this narrative of, oh, this is just a Black father trying to protect his Black daughter. Bullshit. When has he sacrificed shit for her? All that he's done right now is entwine his destiny with hers. So that we basically had this woman ready to essentially give up her relatively young life for a father that's lived a life twice what hers is, right? Giving up her life that she has barely lived in order for his so-called old infirm ass to remain free. And do what? And do what? Right? You're gonna give up your freedom so that your father won't die. But what the fuck about you? I'm just tired of Black women having to like do the labor, do the work to save some Black men who then act fucking unappreciative and then do even more damage. And that is the story of Olivia and Rowan, especially in the absence of her mother and the counterbalance of that force that she's missing. And it's a force that Fitz has been trying to avoid, that Fitz has been trying to fill in some ways, right? A lacuna of a sorts, but he can't do that totally, right? And I'm gonna get more to that in a little bit, but I do not buy this protective business. I do not buy this we're family business, because Jake is supposedly family, and look at what he's done to her at the request of daddy, right? So spare me that narrative. And I know from my own experience how hard it can be when you have family who just, they use you, they exploit you, they run up your credit, they call you every name in the book when you can't do shit for them, and then are all sweet and nice when they need something from you. I get it. I know, and I know you can't completely throw those people away, but you do have to find a way to deal with them that's not going to curtail the living of your life, because you're the only one that's going to live that life. And every consequence that you encounter, you're the only one that's going to experience it. Rowan wasn't in that goddamn cell, right, in Pennsylvania or whatever the fuck they moved you, Olivia, when you were kidnapped, right? He wasn't the one that got knocked out. And nothing happened to him this time. As a matter of fact, when black women are the one who suffer the most because of Rowan. Stay away from him. Olivia, Maya, Sandra. He gets black women caught up. And I'm like so tired of it. And I know this can't be accidental from Shonda. And I'm so waiting for something to happen because coveting the power of white patriarchy as a means of kind of resolving a historical wrong that has been done to black men, which is a kind of infantilization in our communities and in our families, and to take something back for themselves. But the unfortunate thing is that that white patriarchal power always requires an other to suppress or oppress, right, in order to feel more powerful. And black men only have black women and children to exercise that over. They can't really do it over white women, and obviously they can't really do it over white men, right? And we saw with Payas and with Ponytail in 606 Extinction that basically they let him know what his place is, right? He's been out here peacocking like a motherfucker for years, running B613 and basically thinking he is Zeus himself. And that informs the speech that he gives to Olivia. We see twice in 601 and 606 that he can't be a predator, that he is merely very smart prey trying to look out for his species. I'm sorry, you are a motherfucking predator when it comes to one Olivia Pope. You are a predator in that black woman's life. You were a predator when it came to Maya's life. You were a predator when it came to Sandra's life. Every black woman whose name ends in A, right? They have been imprisoned or died because of you. So yeah, you're a smart species trying to help Olivia survive, but only really with the kind of very male values that you have learned, you know, from white supremacy as the only way to win. And Olivia trying to take that on for herself as a black woman, she's going to fucking fail, or she's going to destroy herself, which she's very close to by doing that. And so if she has no force, no feminine or maternal force in her life to balance that, I just really don't know what's going to become of her, right? And it's why she kind of needs Fitz in her life for that maternal, that artificial, if you will, maternal force, because it's not her mother. And it's why her mother really, I think, needs to come back into her life in some way for her to move on in sort of really meaningful ways. Because the absence of her mother, Olivia as a motherless child, this is what we get. We get a woman that has basically turned into her father, that values people as tools, essentially, or what they can give to her, or when they obey her authority. I mean, she even tried that shit with Fitz, the way she kind of tried it with Abby, but it's a bit different, right? Speaking of which, everybody else needs to be punished for disobeying her, except her father, right? And I know father, child, whatever, you're always a child to your father and you respect your parents. But not if your parents don't respect you back, because Rowan doesn't respect her. If he doesn't respect Mellie, who's so easily manipulated by other people, including him, both AU, Damascus Bainbridge, and real life fake ass Damascus Bainbridge from 422 easily played her, right? And he's going to be right there playing her in the Oval when she gets in. And does Olivia think she's going to be exempt from that? That she's going to be the tool that he used either unwittingly or wittingly to achieve that? Because he uses her labor in order to achieve so much of what he wants done, right? And in order to control her. So I'm sick of it. That this girl cannot get anywhere close to what was in her imagination in 610, so long as she still is under the control of her father, because that's what she is, right? I don't know if she sees it, But that's what's happening here. So there is still not the growth that we need in order for her to kind of be anything close to the Olivia that we saw in her imagination. That Olivia in the imagination didn't go through the hell that this Olivia has. So she can't really exactly be that person or be that person easily, right? That's a would have, could have, should have, and we can't go back. We can only move forward. So my concern is with these forces, how does this girl move forward? And I don't want it to take until the end. I'm guessing next season will be the end for her to get there. And since this isn't a happily ever after, I don't expect that she and Fitz are going to give it a proper go until, only at the end of the next season. That's bullshit. Like, part of her growing and her journey is being able to figure out who she's going to be in a relationship with someone else, because you really do learn very much about yourself. But then again, that's also probably one of the reasons why she left in 509 in the first place, because when you're in a relationship with someone, you do kind of have to look in the mirror and start, considering things about yourself and what you're willing to change and what you're not. And she was not willing to do that. Okay, so the actual scene with Rowan and Olivia, where he calls her into the dead spot, I thought it was interesting how, but the thing that impressed me that he said to her was, there is no winning. There is only life and death. And that is true. And all Olivia has been focused on is the winning. She went from, which is Nessun Dorma, right? The song that was playing at the end of 514 when Olivia was dead set on finding out what Jake was up to and why he was lying, right? She wasn't chasing after him because she was jealous of Vanessa. She was doing it because she knew he and her father were up to something. And she and her Nancy Drew ass needed to know, because that's the kind of woman that she is, right? And because people know that about her, they can get her ensnared in anything just by sparking her curiosity. Olivia's still talking about winning. It went from, I'm going to win this White House, to now, I am going to win the moral war by taking down Mellie and the Illuminati and freeing Cyrus, right? So from winning over here to winning over here, right? This girl makes these huge pendulum swings. Huck, kill my father in 607. Fitz, if you give my father up, he is old and, he's going to die. 5 fucking episodes, bruh. And it didn't even take that much. By the end, she was starting to see him this way. By the end of 607, right? Right before Huck gets shot, she changes her mind. She calls off the killing. And it's not long after that the thing in her mind switches to him being innocent. There's a story here about your father, Olivia, that is somewhere between kill him and he's old and infirm. Did he look old and infirm when you went to see him? Did he look old and infirm when he was shooting the shit out of Vargas? I don't think so. So life and death, that's all there is. There is no winning. I think really, especially when you're a Black woman, the only winning you can do is to satisfy yourself, be able to find love and be loved, and to feel that you're doing something good in the world to help your people and to help those who are less fortunate than you. Personally, that's part of the way I've begun to measure success, because I used to be there chasing all of those things and comparing myself to, people I went to university with, and especially when I moved to this country, and what would they be thinking of me now, and thinking that all of my best accomplishments were behind me before I moved to this, to this country. I didn't have these big organization names behind me, to have clout anymore, and, what was I gonna do? But, you adjust. So I've been thinking a lot about that in terms of what's Olivia's move going to be. But anyway, back to Rowan. So the life and death thing comes up with the extinction, which was the name of an episode, and also survival of the fittest, which was also a name of an episode, the very first episode, right? And extinction was Rowan's episode. And he says that if Olivia basically doesn't do as he says, that he's going to die. How convenient, right? And she's used to hearing this kind of threat from him. Not necessarily that he's going to die, but that something else is going to happen, that Fitz is going to die, or Jake is going to die, or somebody she cares about is going to die. He's been able to control her with those kind of threats and fears before. And I don't feel sorry for him that he got ensnared into doing this by them dangling somebody that he used to love or professed to love, even though he shot her point blank. Because this is the shit that he's been doing to her daughter, right? Dangling dicks from the prostitution ring that he runs at B613 in front of Olivia in order to distract her and achieve his own goal. So no, I don't feel sorry for your ass, and I wish you would go to jail. Speaking of, why is it, Olivia, that everybody else needs to go to jail and be punished for their part in all this, right? Rowan basically told Olivia that if she doesn't do what he wants her to do, due to the Illuminati, that he's going to become extinct. He's literally or figuratively living through her in this moment, which he's been doing all along, even though he's lived a whole ass life, twice as long as hers probably. He's still so dependent on her just to have life. And there's a metaphor here, right? Okay, Cyrus. A big part of me feels bad for Cyrus and what he's been through, because he really was innocent. And unlike Mellie, I do think Cyrus is a leader, and I wanted to see him in the White House. And I believe that since he was on the winning ticket, he should have been president, even though the Electoral College hadn't, met. People picked the Vargas Bean ticket. They picked the promises and policies that that ticket was going to deliver. They did not pick the promises and policies of the Grant Ballard ticket. So I don't think Mellie had any business feeling any claim to the presidency when she outright lost, right? And it was a fair loss because Olivia ensured that it was going to be free and fair, which is why the Illuminati had to resort to the drastic measures that they did. But another part of me feels like, yes, he didn't commit treason and he was framed by Olivia, right, via Rowan and the Illuminati, that, dude, you have still done crimes in the past. And so, if you learned anything by being in jail from the crap that you've done in the past, and also for the ways you helped to break up the Olivia and Fitz relationship, I forgot. I don't really mind you having been in jail. So, okay, sorry, I had to, so Cyrus, yeah, I love the scene between Fitz and Cyrus, that they could come together. Very different approach than what Olivia took, right? She wanted to just kind of get past and say, let me help you as my way of apologizing. And Cyrus was not having it. And I don't blame him. Cyrus, I would have shut the door on her ass too. Fuck you, girl. Bye. Especially after your last interaction. Sorry, you don't get to do that, right? Her selfishness, her win at all costs mentality got in the way of that relationship. Even though they weren't really friends, but side note, can we talk about how both Cyrus imagined Olivia at her best and most apologetic when he was hallucinating while after getting beaten up. And then Huck imagines her in white and coming to his rescue in his hallucination. And I think everybody's kind of like, where is that, Olivia Pope? But at the same time, y'all nearly killed the girl because you have taxed her so much. You know what I mean? There is a gross vexation in this girl and rage that is hard to overcome because of her experiences. And some of y'all have contributed to that, Cyrus. So everybody in the EC, millions here in a Swiss account in Olivia's name. Rich white people, can y'all do something useful with your money instead of like stealing democracy? Thanks. Okay, enough about Cyrus. So on to my baby Fitz. So I was so proud of Fitz in this episode, which wasn't I just talking about this? I did it after 609, and then I reblogged it and added after 6010 how what I said in some ways came to fruition in Olivia's AU dream. And then now we see in reality how it comes about. And I talk about the leadership of Fitz and how that leadership is part of something Olivia fell in love with and what she really, really likes about him and what she needs, which is why Jake would always fail in her estimation, right? Why she told him in her monologue in 518, you need me too much. And basically I can manipulate you too easily, so I don't have any respect for you, which again, makes me think about her father, right? Because we are dealing with Rowanka here. But back to Fitz. Olivia realizes that, of course, Fitz still loves you. That if it's going to be that even in his relationship with Angela, that nobody gets between him and Olivia. Olivia is like Calvin Klein jeans to Fitz, okay? Nobody gets between him and his Olivia, right? Right, so Olivia was talking absolutely crazy, bonkers. And it made me so mad at her because she's like, I have the perfect solution. I'm gonna throw myself on the cross for this. And if I go down, Mellie will go down and everybody else will go down. Bitch, where? You as the black woman going down, your ass is going to sit there and rot in jail, and these motherfuckers are going to find a way out. And you can believe Mellie's going to find a way out. Mellie motherfucking Grant, who couldn't put up $5,000 for that deal with Andrew in 517 because I have paid enough. Mellie, you think she was going to come for you? You think she was going to help you when you went down? You would have rotted in prison. And you know whose help you would have begged for? Fitz's motherfucking help in the few weeks that he has left for office. That's what would have happened when you thinking that you were going to give up your life. And can we talk about how even through all of that, Fitz tried to speak some sense into her, that Olivia was essentially, that's the self-destructive tendency that Ponytail talked about at the end of 605 when basically she showed up and told Rowan that the money in her account was insurance policy because Olivia has some self-destructive tendencies when it comes to truth and justice and all this bullshit, right? And we see that right here, that she's doing that, which would have just caused a whole, host of harm for herself. And it's like, girl, have you not paid enough? Especially for these other people who don't really give a shit about you. Because Mellie, at the end of the day, is all about Mellie. And if it was ever going to be between you and her, best believe she's going to look out for herself. And I really hope that it doesn't have to come down to that for you to get the message. Because she's now ensnared everybody in this fucking mess of hers. Yes, she has, by unwittingly teaming up with Liz without asking the important questions, which as a president, you're supposed to ask. Now everybody is caught in a trap. Fitz brought up Rowan and about, the FBI wants a head on a spike and should give to Rowan because he is guilty. Yeah, he is guilty. Did y'all notice that Olivia at the beginning of the episode, when she had all of the players in this cabal up on the OPA wall, Rowan was conveniently missing, right? He gets to be the innocent party in this, like Huck, who was shot for this shit. Abby's got to pay. Cyrus had to pay for shit he didn't do, and even when she found out he didn't do it, she didn't care, because if it meant her winning, oh well, he did shit before, so he could pay, right? Everybody else, Rowan wasn't up on that wall, right? No matter what he does, she justifies it. No matter what he does, she forgives him for the violence he has inflicted on her and all of those things, which takes us back to what she said to Jake in the Oval in 508, that she has forgiven him for all of his crimes and his violence, because he's an extension of her very own father, who she's done the same for when she's not briefly trying to kill him because she's mad, right? And even with all that, and Fitz says, oh, so all of this is for your father. Just as Abby said to her in 609, the fact that, oh, you're protecting your father, you can essentially extend forgiveness to him, but you can't extend it to me, right? Or to anybody else, it seems. And people are saying these things to her. She's not really ready to listen. And Fitz tells her, don't do this. I don't want to lose you. So it registers for a brief second that he still cares about me, which in her AU is what she wanted to confirm, despite everything that she has done, right? Because he said, I forgive you in 609. Whether you heard forgive or forgave, as I said, it was in the present continuous, right? Meaning it's always there, that I forgive you, because there's nothing that you could do that I wouldn't forgive. And this man is absolutely true as the ring that he gave her that she no longer wears. I'm really proud of him that he decided to figure a way out of this by being strategic, by doing what he needed to do, and not asking anybody's permission, but also protecting not just her, but her interests. And in him protecting Rowan, the guy who killed his son so that he would win re-election, which is not something Fitz asked for, not something Olivia asked for either, but forgave her father for. For him to do that for Olivia shows you how much this man loves this woman, because loving Black people is a radical act. I'm going to say that again. Loving Black people is a radical act, especially in America. And what it means to love a Black person is not about sticking your penis in their vagina, Jake. It's not about them saving you. What it is about is, do you love them as a person? Do you value their life? And not just their individual life, but the lives of their family, of their community. What more can this man do to show Olivia how down he is for her than to once again, because he did this in no, he didn't do it in 508, but he wasn't going to kill Rowan. Once again, either let your father go free or bring him in under his protection and out of punishment, the very man who caused him the loss of his child. The man who has intervened in his relationship with you, knowingly and also unknowingly. Because as I have said, written about after 509, Olivia's father was all over that motherfucking breakup and the Olitz argument. And we almost got a confirmation of that when Olivia later says to Fitz, what do you find so hard to believe that if I have to choose between him and you will always lose? using the very language of her father, who has told her time and time again, against me, you will lose. There is no winning, Olivia. Just told you that. So being in a relationship with Fitz is not about winning, right? There's only life and there's death. And in between, there's love. You're going to go after it or you're not going to go after it. Because you're not ready to go after it. And that's what pissed me the fuck off. Because I'm like, how much can Fitz do in this situation for you to get it? I almost wanted to be like those people who hate Olivia and be like, she doesn't deserve Fitz's love. But I don't think so. I don't think any of us come into this world and somehow have to earn love or deserve love, right? We are people and we should be loved. Now, whether or not you are ready to accept being loved and also loving someone and all of that it entails, that's a different story. And Olivia is not there yet. So because of the way she came in and greeted Fitz with that, without knowing all the information, which this whole entire season has been about her reacting and not knowing all of the motherfucking information. All season, she's been doing this. And it's been pissing me off with her, right? And she looked real stupid. I love how Fitz dealt with the situation by just being like, let me turn this here TV on. You gonna stop yelling at me or what? And then when he sat across from her, looked like, you feel real stupid, don't you? And she did. She had that cryless cry face going on, looking at Fitz like, I'm sorry I doubted you. I can't believe you did this for me. That got me to a better place. So I'm going to talk about Ain't No Mountain High Enough, right? The editor synced it up perfectly so that you had this great rise and crescendo when when they kind of sit down across from each other. And then the lyrics that play are perfect for them, right? Which are, and if you should miss my love, one of these old days, if you should ever miss the arms that used to hold you so close, or the lips that used to touch you so tenderly, just remember what I told you the day I set you free. Ain't no mountain high enough, ain't no valley low enough, ain't no river wide enough to keep me from you. And here we are once again with Fitz doing something for Olivia, right? Because he values the person that she is and whatever it is that will make her happy. Putting her father in jail was not going to make her happy, right? Something he committed himself to, we saw in Put a Ring on It in 417, and staying true to his promise and the responsibility that he feels. And that even though he literally has a girlfriend who I guess must be packing her bags to Omaha by Angela, he wasn't expecting anything returned. He certainly wasn't expecting a kiss because he looked surprised about it. And I sure as hell wasn't expecting them to go up in that room and presumably put it down because we didn't get to see it. And I know they showed the trail right before the airing of this episode, so it reminded me, of course, of them going into the hotel room and Olivia taking the lead on that. And hi, Livy. That, and obviously from the vestibule in Olivia's apartment into building into her actual apartment in 610. So all of those kind of work together with her taking Fitz in, taking him in those ways. So with these lyrics, for me, I felt it less coming from Fitz in a romantic way, and like, because I don't think he had a romantic expectation. That the lyrics, like, if you want to know what it is to feel love, because I know you must be missing it all this time, because the woman that I see does not look like she is being loved, because he has to understand and see how crazy she has become with all of this yelling with her nose getting scrunched up, these Rowanka moments of her where her guy is coming out, as Huck says. People have to see this shit, about her. The 3 slaps to Abby, Fitz, wasn't there. And I don't know that he knows that happened, but Olivia, she needs help. And so those lyrics made me feel like Fitz was just like, I'm here to help you. I'm trying to make it better. And the thing is, people can't change or get better if they don't have help. None of us can do this stuff on our own. And the reason why people change for the better or worse is usually because of other people. So Fitz being this positive force in her life is really important. She needs him, but he cannot fix things for her. One of the things I think Fitz has learned is that he can't, do things on his timeline, like outing her name, thinking he's going to set her free that way when she's not ready and he hasn't thought about all of the consequences, right? He's not going to fix things for her or fix their relationship by bringing her under his protection, moving her into the White House because of how she's going to perceive that move. He can't do it for her. He can help and try to do the best things that he thinks, but that won't restrict her movement. And I thought that this was a really good solution. We'll see how it heads out. And I feel like Fitz has done his part and become the man that he needs to be and a man that he can be proud of, to go back to his speech in 610. I imagine that speech from Olivia's point of view, and I think some of you has got to be in that speech, that what you want to be able to say or articulate one of these days is that you have a lot of work to do to become the woman that you are fully capable of being, a woman that you can be proud of, a woman you can be proud of for yourself, and also a woman who is capable of loving another person and receiving love from another person in healthy ways. Because there's too many times in this episode, I was glad Olivia was putting Fitz in the loop, but towards the end of the episode, she very much reverted back to follow my orders or else. And I tell you what else I noticed, how motherfucking quickly she was able to start using and wielding Fitz's power as soon as she gets close to that oval again. She shows up at her father's lab being like, what are you going to tell the president of the United States when he asked for your resignation? And the lady was like, bitch, who you think sent me here? Like, girl, you're speaking for Fitz now? TikTok, it's going to be a few weeks. And what are you going to do when he's not there? What are you going to do when it's time to get up in this White House, right? And basically you have created, because you participated in this because of your father, in creating a cage for yourself. You're not free. Fitz thinks that he set you free by letting you go after you left the White House, when really you went from a perceived cage to an actual cage. You made your apartment a cave, which, did y'all notice that y'all saw some light in that apartment for the first time in like, I don't know how long? The drapes were open and it was daylight in there. I noticed the difference. Anyway, you made your apartment into a cave. You started fucking your brother, hanging out with people that you were no better than. Livy, don't listen to my language. And, just really trying not to be shit. And now you think you're going to make a 180 and be the savior of everyone again without having done no work on yourself. And the thing with being in this business is it doesn't ever give her a moment to really breathe. And perhaps maybe that's why she likes it, because she doesn't have any moments to face herself in that way, to have to face these questions. But what I saw near that end is not a woman who's ready to be in a relationship with Fitz. I don't know what's going on with them or what's going to be going on. I'm not really interested in them being fuck buddies, because I've been down this road too many times where Olivia jumps into this and she's just really ill-equipped. And for me, I want Fitz and his influence to stick around with Olivia because it's good for her. She needs somebody who's going to support her in that way, but isn't also demanding of her. But I do think at some point Fitz is going to have to be like, in order to love Olivia fully, that when you love someone, sometimes you have to say to them, um, you're fucking up, or you could do better. Olivia certainly has done that a lot for Fitz over the years. And I think it's time that he can suggest in some appropriate ways for her that she can and does need to do better. I love her and I love Olitz, but I can't support an Olitz where Olivia just really isn't prepared to be in the relationship. And she could imagine being in the relationship and trying and, you know, succeeding in it. But as I said, too much has happened that didn't happen in that AU that Olivia does have to contend with, including her own kind of mental and emotional health, that she just hasn't had the opportunity to, and, you know, willingly takes on things that get in the way of that, because that stuff is hard in comparison to, you know, running around in this uppity fantasy land, as her mother says. But the choice of the false choice that Olivia brings up about choosing between her father and Fitz, nobody asked you to do that, bruh. Nobody. Where is this coming from? Because it just brought me back to season 5 again, that you chose your father over that relationship, right? The minute you let him out of prison, the minute you allowed yourself to let him out of prison, he was going to be your out, right? He was your door marked exit, and the excuses you made were all over that argument. And when you told Fitz that, you know, he would lose against your father every time, that's your programming. You told Fitz in the Oval, you do not tell me what to do, yet your father does all the time, and you allow him to do that. You're a grown-ass woman. Listen, I had to like reach a point where I, you know, in my relationship with my mother, like I let her know that. And if she says some like backward shit to me, she has to apologize. I don't care if you're my mother. You're insulting me, and you don't get to do that because I'm not a goddamn child. Because in your AU, girl, you chose Fitz over your dad. You sidelined him, or at least thought he would be sidelined and not interested in you and the choices that you have made. You are not going to be able to be in a good relationship with anybody, including Fitz, because let's not forget how he intervened in your relationship with Edison. You're not going to be in a good relationship with anyone. As a matter of fact, has your father like not ever been in a relationship of yours? He's between you and whoever you're boning always, right? With Jake, it was just more direct. With Russell, it was just more direct, right? That shit is exploitative and rapey, incesty as fuck. Stop it. You will go nowhere. You will never be free. You will never grow if you can't put him in his place. You're not going to succeed on his terms. I want Olivia to want like some real change in her life that's not focused around events, that's not focused around the Oval. And I think I will feel better once I know what is it that she's going to do if Mellie actually does get in that Oval. Because I have maintained since last season 5B that I don't think she needs to be in the Oval, either because it's going to be a destructive place for her. And I didn't know that they were going to go down this road with the Illuminati and all of that stuff. And even more so now, it's going to be a destructive place for her. Because if they think Rowan is a good asset or laborer, the fuck you think they're going to use Olivia for? Via her father. Especially they know that he can control her. And he's tethered his life to hers. So now we have her in an actual kind of cage, right? Fitz didn't put you in a cage. You're in a cage now that you've made in a way. And how are you going to get out of it and ever experience true freedom? Because this ain't it. All right. Thank you guys for listening. Once again, please shop Born Beautiful Naturals for your Mother's Day gift ideas. handmade cosmetics by me, hair, body, and face. I've got a little package on the website now that you can go and visit. And all my scandalistas and scandalrati out there do receive a 10% discount by using Katrina17. All right, thanks a lot, and I'll see y'all later. Bye.